All right, we will begin again. So this is an electric meter. You have this outside of your house. Okay? This is measuring how much electricity your entire house is using. And that's determining the bill, how much you have to pay every month. Okay, you guys got that one right. Here's a little bit easier one. What is this? All right, ceiling fan. And who has one of these in their house? Who has more than 4 in their house? Yeah, a lot of you guys do. How does this work? How does it spin around? How does electricity make it spin around? There's a motor in there, yeah. How does the motor spin around? Doesn't heat it, something. What's inside that motor? All you guys who go home today, rip this off your ceiling and break it apart and look inside and see how it works. Tell your parents I said you can do that. Right inside there's going to be some magnetic coils inside that motor. It has a rotor. The electricity flows through the wires. That creates a force that's going to cause the rotor to spin. There's magnets inside there. And then that rotor is going to be attached to these fan blades. That's going to make the fan spin. How does the light work? Electricity is everything. But how does electricity make this work? It goes through the light bulb, and there's thin wires that connect to it goes through the wire and it's wire. It's wired glow. Okay. It's not a semiconductor, that's fancy technology. This is old technology. Edison invented it. It glows. Why doesn't it catch on fire? Because there's no air. There's no air inside here. Excellent. The vacuum inside there. So no air, so it can't burn. And what if you hit it with the ball? If it's on the side, you bet it not. Yeah. As soon as you break that glass, air rushes in, it's going to burn, wire break, light bulb goes out. Okay, so we have 2 amazing devices here. We have a motor that can rotate. We have light. Nothing invented 100 years ago, 150 years ago. There wasn't anything like this. Thousands of years of human history. And now everybody here has 4 or 5 in their house, right? Okay, so let's see what we can do to make sure these lights work and that these fans turn. All right, here's a picture of your power grid. And this goes from our house all the way to an electricity generating station. Sometimes hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away from the house. We're inside our house. There's a ceiling fan in there. There's some light bulbs. Remember, there was an electric meter outside your house. There were some wires running from that electric meter, either underground or to power lines. You guys have seen power lines along the street. And in some newer neighborhoods, they're underground, but sometimes you see those green plastic or metal boxes on the ground. Okay, there's electric equipment inside there. These power lines go to a substation. Who has seen a substation? Where is the substation? Right outside the school. Yeah, if you're driving to the east towards racetrack, there's a substation right outside the school. Do you have a question? Where's another one? Big fence to keep people out and safe. There's also a lot of equipment inside there. And then there's big power lines that are connected. Who has seen these transmission lines around? Where's the transmission line? There's one right here too. Right? Going from the substation right through Castle Hills neighborhood. You see it all the way around there. Okay? And then that eventually goes to a power plant. Okay? Now, how is the electricity generated in this power plant? Question? Yes. Yeah, but what fuel do they use to make that magnet spin? Fossil fuels, coal, what else? Burn the coal to get steam. Natural gas also used. Nuclear power. We're going to talk about all those. Water. All right. My question to you is, can that power plant use sunlight to produce electricity? Okay, we want to analyze that question. Can that power plant use sunlight to generate electricity? Okay, and the first thing is, I'll just tell you the answer. Yes, it can. Okay? There's something called the photovoltaic effect. Okay, the photovoltaic effect was first noted in 1839 by a French physicist. He looked at this certain material, special material, and when you shine light on them, It caused electrons to bounce out of that material, and if you put a wire on that material, you can collect those electrons, and when you move the electrons through the wire, do something useful, a light bulb, a fan, a little motor, that's called electricity. Okay, nobody knew how this worked in 1839. Somebody in 1905 described how the photovoltaic worked and how light works, and won the Nobel Prize for it. This is photo. Who knows who that is? No? You did know. Yeah, a lot of you guys, this is another picture of him 40 years later, Albert Einstein. Everybody knows what he looks like nowadays. This is what he looked like when he made his great discovery. He didn't get the Nobel Prize for the theory of relativity, which was even a bigger discovery. He got that for the photovoltaic effect, 1905. 1954, the first working solar modules made, invented, Bell Labs, AT&T, involved Bell back in our day. Then in the 60s and 70s, when we built space stations, spaceships, rocket ships, satellites, they had to use solar cells. They were very expensive, and so they could only be put up in places that had a lot of money and had no other option for electricity. So now think about this. We can make electricity from sunlight. It was first discovered, noted, in 1839. 1905, people figure out how to do it. 1954, they actually create one that works. And today, it's finally getting to the point where it's cheap enough to put on the roof of your house. Science takes 200 years from discovery to when it actually is cheap enough. Sometimes people say, well, that's not useful for anything. It's not useful for anything today. That's the point about science, that you're discovering things for future generations to make use of, which is pretty cool when you think about it. So these photovoltaic cells, you put a whole bunch of them together. They call modules. These lines connect the modules, connect the cells into a module. You take these modules and put them into an array. Here's a module. This is 24 volts. 24 volts is this is used to power my a car battery that opens up the gate, my driveway. So it's about 2 car batteries, 24 volts. Inside there, you see those are cells. Those silver lines, those are the wires put in the current. All those 3 cells across, 4 down. They come together to the back there. Electricity then comes out here. It's just potential electricity right now. It's not flowing. There's no current. Don't pick the fuse on. You can pick the fuse on. I'm joking. All right. There's some other ways to make electricity from sunlight. It's called concentrating solar. So we have the photovoltaic effect, or we can take a parabola, which you remember from math, describes a shape, a parabolic dish, a mirror. Concentrate sunlight. What happens when you concentrate sunlight on a single point? Heat stuff up. It can get very hot. So here's an example of that parabolic array, a whole bunch of parabolic mirrors, curved, with this fluid flowing from the middle. Might be steam. Remember what you can do with steam. You can kind of curve and generate electricity. Now, curved mirrors can be a little bit hard to manufacture, so people can also use flat mirrors. A couple flat mirrors shining up on a tank way up in the air. You can warm that tank up. Now take thousands, tens of thousands of those mirrors. These are all mirrors out in the desert. This is outside of Las Vegas in California, called Ivanpah. You can search the website and ask for it, ivanpahsolar.com. They just started producing electricity from here. Thousands of mirrors, thousands and thousands of mirrors. It's so hot up here they melt salt, molten salt, and they can store that heat in the salt before they can use it. And then when they use it, they can turn water into steam, run turbines, generate electricity. So this works really big. Now, would you want to have that in your backyard? You're good? Yeah, we wouldn't want to have that in our backyard. You can have sunlight being, electricity being produced from solar panels that are photovoltaic, though. Here's your house with solar panels on top. Now, remember, we had electricity coming from the power plant, going through the transmission lines, going to the substation, going through the power lines, into your house. Or, during the day, you put solar panels on your roof, you just have the power come into your house and run your washing machine, your refrigerator, everything like that. At night, no sunlight, so you're going to have electricity come through the power line. So we kind of answer our question, can we have solar? that produce electricity? Well, yes, we can. But why? Why would we want to? Okay? Everybody's going to need to pull out their iPads or iPhones, open up a calculator app. We're going to do some engineering now. Okay? Engineering is the application of science, math, technology. You guys have heard of STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We're going to use all of those things today to try to answer a question that we have. We want to get things done. We want to do it the right way. That's what engineering is going to do for us. All right, let's look back at the problem that we had. We had to turn on the lights on our ceiling fan. We're not going to turn on the ceiling fan yet. It's 4 light bulbs. 4 light bulbs. All right, so 4 light bulbs. Here's 2 light bulbs. Somebody look at those and tell me how much power they use. There should be a number next to the letter W. W stands for watt. 60 watts, all right? So 60 watts is an incandescent light bulb. This is the old one. Edison was saying. 13 watts for this one. They produce the same amount of light, 60 watts, 13 watts. It's a different technology. This is fluorescent light, like up there. Why it's early, incandescent. It heats up. This produces a lot of heat, which is wasted. That's why this is going to use 4 times as much electricity as this one. All right, 60 watts, 13 watts. Remember that. There's all sorts of different types of light bulbs. We're going to compare those. So we have 60 watt light bulbs. We need to do some math now. So we need to understand power and energy. We pay for energy. Okay? Energy is how much work is done. Power is the rate at which work is done. Who lifts weights? Has ever done a bench press? Okay, work is 100 pounds pressed up. That's a fixed amount of work that you're doing, right? What if I do it fast? Same amount of work, 100 pounds going up the length of my arm. What's that? All right, well, energy is actually work. It's more something though, more power. That's right, more power. So power is how fast you do work. Energy is the amount of work done. In units of measurement, power is going to be watts. You guys in science, have you guys used joules? Okay, joules is a measurement of energy. It's actually the correct measurement of energy. Power is a joule per second. However, what we do in the energy industry, because we're talking about such large numbers, we change this equation around. We make it work equals power times time. So we measure energy in watt hours or kilowatt hours. How many watts are in 1 kilowatt? 1,000. Kilo is 1,000. Okay? So we're going to be trying to figure out kilowatt hours starting with watts. All right, here's your first math problem. Okay, get your calculators ready. All right, here's our first math problem. We have 4 light bulbs in our fan. So how many watts are we using? 4 times 60, yes. 240. Did you use your calculator? Oh, that's pretty good. All right, 240 watts. There we go. I'm joking. Everybody's got this so far. It's going to get larger though. All right, how much energy is that? We're going to leave those 4 lights on all day while we're at school, 8 hours. We have 4 light bulbs burning while we're at school, yes. 1,120 what? Watts times, it was watts times hours. Yeah, 1,120 watt hours, and then what do you got? All right, it's watt hours, watt times hours. We want kilowatt hours, so what do you have to do? 1,000. Excellent. Okay, so we divide that by 1,000, and I'm going to have to minimize. Oh, and they're giving us the answer there. Thank you very much from Italy. All right, so 1.92 kilowatt hours. Okay, how much does 1.9, let's call it 2 kilowatt hours you guys use because you left the lights on while you're at school? How much does that cost you? 2 kilowatt hours. Yes. Yes. 8 hours. Using 2 kilowatt hours. So 2 kilowatt hours, $8. $8, okay? Yes. 30 or 40 cents. All right, another guess. Back. $5, okay. $5, $8, 30 or 40 cents. Let's figure this out, okay? The way we're going to figure it out is we're going to look at my power bill. This bill came from my electric company called ProServe. You live in Castle Hill, so talk to here in ProServe. You go home today, you can ask your parents for the electric bill. They're going to write about how much it costs and all that. There's 2 pages with numbers like this on my electric bill. Okay? How do I know how much I pay for electricity? What is my cost? My dollars per kilowatt hour that I'm paying for electricity. So look at this bill and figure out how much you're paying for electricity. That's a very important number. All right, so what was the answer there? So we had kilowatt hours that we used, and how much I paid for electricity. So now how much am I paying for 1 kilowatt hour? It's my dollars per kilowatt hour. Excellent. About 10 cents. There we go. $126 divided by 1,200 kilowatt hours. So 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We use 2 kilowatt hours. Remember? 4 light bulbs, 8 hours, 2 kilowatt hours. How much does 2 kilowatt hours cost? 20 cents. Okay, so thank goodness it's not $8. Well, let me tell you, everybody guesses that. 8, 10, things like that. Parents would go crazy if they had to pay that. All right, 10 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay, we're going to get a little bit harder now. Now, the question I'm going to pose to you is, should I turn off my lights or should I buy a solar panel and run my lights off with solar electricity? Here's a solar panel that's 240 watts. Okay? And this is going to be a 1/10 of that one. So that solar panel, I'm going to buy it, install it in my house, about $500. It's going to be about this tall, put on my roof. Okay? $500 is going to cost me. It's 240 watts. It's going to last for 25 years. Just to keep math easy with them, I'll leave my lights on. I'm using 240 watts, 8 hours a day, 10 cents a kilowatt hour for 25 years. And then leave those lights on every day, 25 years. So how much is it going to cost me to do that, to leave those lights on? All right, all the numbers are up there. I won't give you the equation yet. If anybody wants to not give the answer, just hold your hand up if you still working on it. I'll start giving you the equation. We have an answer in the back. We're just saying, don't wait for me. Very good. All right. Here's the first half of your equation, okay? 240 watts. I want to convert it into kilowatts. It's called dimensional analysis, and half of the sophomore engineers get this wrong. That's something you're called to do it. But are you ready? 8 hours a day. Multiply that by 10 cents a kilowatt hour. 365 days times 25 years. Any fast fingers out there? Got an answer? Yes. Well, you're just off by 1,000 there. You probably multiplied by 1,000 instead of divided by 1,000. All right, $1,752. How much it costs me to leave those lights on. So I can buy a solar panel for $500, and then I can just run those lights off my solar panel, or I can leave my lights on. So who thinks that I should buy a solar panel? Who thinks that I should turn my lights off? So first, who thinks I should buy a solar panel? All right. Who thinks I should turn my lights off? Why? Why should I turn my lights off? It'll save energy. Save energy is good, but this is a little bit of a trick question. Remember, you're at school. You don't need the lights when you're at school, right? You should save energy when you can. It's always cheaper to save energy. If you bought a solar panel, you still have to pay $500. So you're only saving $1,200, really. You have to pay $500, you save $1,700 there. If you just turn your lights off, you can save the full amount. You don't need it. Okay, now that's a good theory. Let's save energy and save money. However, here's a photo of my son's bedroom this morning. What do you guys notice on the ceiling? He was in the car, ready to go to school. He had already left his room. I ran upstairs, snapped a photo of his bedroom. He left his lights on, 4 lights on his ceiling fan, 240 watts. It will be on for 8 hours if I hadn't gone up there and turned it off. You also have your refrigerator. Can you turn your refrigerator off to save electricity? Or your food will go bad, okay? So whenever you can, you want to save electricity. When you can't, you have to produce electricity. So let's start looking at why we would use solar to produce that electricity. Here's the next question. When do you use electricity? I'm going to show you some answers. Here's the first graph. This came again from my CoServe electric bill. This is each month of the year. Last year, how much electricity, how many kilowatt hours I use every month. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. What do you notice? August. What's going on in the summer? My air conditioner, I turn on my air conditioner in the summer. It uses a lot of electricity. This is how much electricity my lights and refrigerator use in this big peak. That's how much electricity I'm using. Really bad in Texas. It's so hot here. Okay, so we use more electricity in the summer than we do in the winter. What else do we have more of in the summer? Free time to be home and use electricity, but what else do we have more of up in the sky? Sunlight, longer days, more sunlight, more intense sunlight. The sun is higher up in the sky, right? Okay, so there's more sunlight, more available solar energy in the summer than in the winter. You use more energy in the summer than in the winter. Okay, here's another graph. This shows what's called time of day pricing. Well, it turns out in Texas they charge me 10 cents a kilowatt hour all day and all night. It's old technology. In some places, like in California, here in LA, here's a graph. They charge different rates depending on the morning or night. So from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. 5 a.m. they're costing 5 cents a kilowatt hour. And here in Texas, you can actually get free electricity at night with Reliant. It's zero. But what do you notice during the day from 2 to 5 p.m.? 15, 16 cents a kilowatt hour. There's places it goes up to 30 cents a kilowatt hour. Way more than I pay now. Now, why are we using more electricity between 2 and 6 in the afternoon? Why is there more demand? It's hot and people come home. So people do turn their lights off when they're at work or at school. Everybody comes home, everybody comes on their TV, they turn on their lights, they turn their air conditioner to a lower setting. They have more demand. Now, this orange line shows when solar electricity is generated. And what do you notice? You can't generate solar electricity at night. And so you start generating it more, and the peak generation of solar electricity is almost the same as the peak cost of electricity. So not only do you have more solar electricity in the summer, when it's hotter and you need it, you also have more solar electricity at the times of day when you need to use it. Okay, the next thing is that, yes, we can generate solar electricity, but what if there's nobody to use it? There's middle of the ocean, there's a lot of sunlight, nobody's out there. So where do you have lots of people and lots of sunlight? In the city, but say New York City, not as much sunlight there, a lot of people. Dallas, yeah, there's a lot of sun and a lot of people. And let's look at this. This is a map created by Department of Energy, National Renewable Energy Lab. Go online, it's all free. And this shows how much potential energy there is. Let me move the chat out. To create electricity from sunlight. Blue is less, and red is more. So you see over here, say Phoenix, very red. Fairbanks, Alaska, very blue. If I take the same panel, I put it in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I put the same panel in Phoenix, Arizona, I'm going to create 2.5 times as much electricity in Arizona as I do in Alaska. 2.5 times as much. Exact same price. I can create 2.5 times as much. And what do you guys notice? All the red here, and lots of people live. San Antonio to Oklahoma City, San Diego to San Francisco. It's not that hard to transmit electricity a few hundred miles across land, across desert areas there. Here's a map of Germany on the right. Germany has more solar power generated in America, or might have very recently passed them, but they've been doing this for a decade. What do you notice about their potential? What state is it like? What state? It's like Alaska. That's right. So Germany, you give all the solar panels in Germany, put them into New Mexico. The exact same amount of solar panels, exactly the same amount of money that they spent. They have almost 2.5 times as much electricity. So it can be done. It was done in Germany, and we have much more potential than they do. There's somebody on our presentation from Italy. Italy looks a little bit more like Spain. They have a lot of sun. People. They're kind of blessed. We're blessed here in the United States as well. Here's a picture of the world. Remember we talked about Southwest U.S. Lots of sun, people nearby. What do we have here in North Africa? Lots of sun. What's in North Africa? What desert? Sahara Desert. How many people live in the Sahara Desert? Not that many. Yeah. Same problem. Center of Australia. Not that many. Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Plug that a lot of gas. Solar. Bolivia over here, Peru. They're not as blessed. Now, you can run transmission lines from the Sahara Desert into Europe. It's a little bit harder than running it through land, across Texas, for example. So the United States is blessed to have a lot of sunlight near where we live, and Texas is blessed even more relative to the number of people that we have to have that sunlight where we need it to live. So, why solar? You get the electricity when you need it. You can produce it where you need it. There's no cost of fuel, no pollution. And solar, right? Wait a minute. There's always some catch, right? So why don't we have solar now? Why isn't everything run off solar electricity right now? Yeah. Too expensive. Yeah. Another reason? People don't want to take the time to do it. Yes. You can't create enough electricity to run the whole house. Yes, in the back. People think it's ugly on their house. Also, there's a big problem in that the sun doesn't shine at night. And you like the sun at night. You can't store electricity too often. So all these problems are there. They were a huge problem. Expense was the biggest problem. The 200 years that we knew about the photovoltaic effect, you just couldn't afford to put any panels on you. It's too expensive. Okay, but we're going to show you that that's not necessarily the case anymore. All right, back to this graph. You guys remember this graph? This is our electric grid. Okay, power is being generated at the power plant. That would be the transmission line down to our house. All right, what else can we use to generate that power? Well, let's look at what we do use today. This is in the U.S. Electric generation by type of fuel. You can't read this. The big blue pie is coal. Most of our electricity comes from coal, which we burn. Natural gas is red. That's like the gas flame on your stove or the water heater or your fireplace. Petroleum, incident. Hydro is the water dam, scuba dam, dams all around the place. In Texas, there's actually a significant amount of wind power, around 10%, 8 to 15%. A lot of wind here. Solar, where's solar on this? In the other, and it's less than 1%. It's very, very small amount. And remember, they think that it was too expensive until just recently, a few years ago, as a matter of fact. Now let's look at these types of fuel. Here's nuclear. It's a nice field. That's not pollution coming out of stuff. That's food. It's okay. Nice and clean, very reliable. Base load, it produces a lot of electricity all the time, day and night. It's expensive to get started, but then relatively cheap to operate. Who's heard of Fukushima? What happened there? Earthquake off the ocean, caused tidal wave knocked out the cooling plant. Once the heat ran away, we had a nuclear meltdown, released radiation. Imagine if that happened to a nuclear power plant near Chernobyl, another one in Russia. Nobody's been in Chernobyl for 25 years. They're dead now. Imagine if that happened in Glen Rose. There's a nuclear power plant there. And they have to evacuate Dallas, Fort Worth, Palm, San Antonio. Where do you go for 25 years? Where would you spend 15 million people? Your grandmother? My grandma was perfect. So 15 million Texans are going to go to Chicago and live with his grandmother. That'll be perfect. So that's the problem. It doesn't happen very often. 2 times in human history. Almost 100 years of nuclear power. It's only happened twice. But if it happens, it's really bad. And people worry about that. France runs nuclear power 70–80% of their electricity. So it can be done, but people worry about that. Here's coal. A person would be about as big as that little box down there. How would you like to have that in your backyard? Can you see the windmills in the background here? Why not? Yeah, they're not even burning coal. That's just digging it up. It's stuff in the air. That's asthma. Yeah. A lot of coal being burned in Texas. So we have plenty of coal in the U.S. China has a lot of coal too. They actually burn more than we do. We can have coal your entire life. that never run out of coal. You can use it for all your electricity. You get to decide what do you want in your backyard, what do you want to do with your guys' electricity grid. Natural gas, pretty clean looking. There's carbon dioxide coming out. A lot of people don't like carbon dioxide. If you want to have that in your backyard, it's pretty tall also. It's pretty cheap as well. Okay, here's solar. Here's an option we have. This is a plant that we own. Our company owns this plant. It's in Tennessee. Tennessee pays a little bit more for solar. So we bought this plant. 3 megawatts, 3 million watts. Remember how much we talked about that 60-watt bulb? This is going to generate 3 million watts 50 times a day. It's just in a field. A fence just sits there. Somebody lives there. They do have this in their backyard. You had to have one of those 4 things in your backyard. What would you rather have in your backyard? Solar. It's clean, quiet. Nobody works there full time. This is how we monitor it. This is just a web page. We log into our web page. We have equipment. The yellow line shows how much sunlight is hitting those panels. That's the potential solar energy that we can be producing. The red line shows how much we actually do produce. Let's say a car runs off the road, runs through our fence, and takes out 20 arrays, which happens. Then you'll see a little drop there. We have to call Borry, who's our contractor on site. He will go out. We have spare parts in the shed. It takes a few hours. It's very easy to run. Solar is very easy to run. Remember, 3 megawatts. 3 megawatts is the size of our plant. All right, now we're going to learn electricity in Texas. So take out your iPad, iPhone, go to the App Store, search for ERCOT, E-R-C-O-T, ERCOT. And you should find a free app. You can download it. ERCOT stands for the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. Their job is to make sure that inside the state of Texas, when you flip the switch on your light, the lights come off. That's their job. You want to make sure the electricity is always there. You don't care so much about the off and everything else. When you flip the switch on, power is there. Okay, ERCOT is what's called an interconnection region. It's a region of a power plant and ship electricity anywhere where somebody needs to turn it on. You notice there's 3 of these in the U.S. There's the western region, all the western states. There's the eastern region. That's several actual companies that are involved, but they're all interconnected. And then Texas, how many states is ERCOT served? One. A little bit of Louisiana, but it's basically one. They don't like to cross the state line. So ERCOT is pretty much just Texas, about 85% of Texas. Here's some facts you can see in your app, and you should be downloading those. We're going to look at some of the pages in ERCOT app. 85% of Texas is electric load. We have everything except for El Paso and Amarillo. Capacity is how much electricity we could produce inside the system. But look at the demand. That's how much electricity we have ever used. The maximum amount we've ever used, our record peak demand. A summer, late afternoon, probably 2012, during the heat wave, 5 megawatts they used. How much was our solar plant producing? 3 megawatts, 68,000. So we have a lot of room to go. We need to build a lot of solar. The state of Texas needs megawatts, needs gigawatts, needs thousands of megawatts every year to be added just to keep up with the people that are moving into the state. All of you have iPads. When you just download that app, where did that app come from? The internet. What's the internet? Not solar energy. Although some people do it. They're called the cloud, the internet, the cloud. There are computers called servers that are in these huge warehouses the size of this entire school, but nothing but computers inside, using electricity, generating heat, downloading your apps from it. That electricity has to come from somewhere. Apps seem like they're really clean, but what if you use coal to generate electricity when they're servers? It's not so clean. So a lot of the companies, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, a lot of companies that run the internet, that run the cloud, they're now using solar power. Okay, let's look at that app. Anybody have it downloaded yet? All right, lots of stuff you can click on. You click on normal conditions, current operation. There's 2 lines. There's a green line and an orange line. Green line is how much electricity we're using right now. This screenshot was from a week ago, so you guys might see something a little different. That dash line is right now. Okay? Orange line is how much electricity the ERCOT system has available. If the green line is lower than the orange line, then we have plenty of electricity available. What happens if the green line goes above the orange line? Power outage, what's that special term for power outage that's sudden and unexpected? A blackout, yes. A brownout means a few people start to lose electricity, lights start to flicker, we're right on the edge, the green line is equal to the orange line. When the green line goes higher, when we need more than we have available, some areas that don't have power. You can't store a whole lot of power at a huge scale, easily, extensively today. So when that happens, lights go out. That's really bad. That's ERCOT stuff. Make sure that never happens. In the summer, if you guys watch this app, just keep on your computer, you'll see a big spike. Here, last week, 36,000 megawatts was needed. What was our peak usage? The all-time record is Texas. 60, yeah, 63,000 there. So we had 68,300, 68,300. So we're only using half of what we're using in August this summer. A lot of electricity. Okay, you can also see wholesale prices. You guys find that? Yeah. Somebody tell me what the wholesale price of power is in the fourth zone right now. Yes. $30.25. Oh, wait a minute. We paid 10 cents. Why is it $30.25? What? That makes sense. Okay, well, there's different units. $30 a megawatt hour. These guys deal with big, big numbers. It's a 3 cents kilowatt hour. So the electric company's buying electricity for 3 cents a kilowatt hour, they're selling it to me for 10 cents. Woohoo! Lots of money, right? They then use that money to hire people that know how to keep the power lines going, that know what the spare parts are, they know how to fix things when they break. That's how the electric system pays for itself. So you can watch in the different zones, just west, north, south, Houston. These prices fluctuate. Here was a little spike. Look at that, 74, 7 cents a kilowatt hour in the west this day that I took a screenshot. Only 4 cents in the north. For some reason, somebody in the west, probably they were drilling a lot of oil and gas wells, doing a lot of fracking. There were some maybe supply issues. So prices can fluctuate. It can actually be more expensive in some areas than the other. Here. You can watch that. That stuff changes all the time. Settlement point prices can be every 15 minutes. They reset how much people pay for electricity. This is a good way to watch. Okay, that's the end of the formal presentation. I do have a lab experiment that we're going to do next. But first, I'll take any questions that you guys have. And for those of you that are going through the internet, you can chat those questions into the right corner of your screen. Also, share with you my email. There's my picture, which you all see. Oh, we had a note from our participant in Italy. There's over 30 gigawatts of PV power plants in Italy right now. A gigawatt is 1,000 megawatts, guys. 30,000 megawatts of the photovoltaic cell. Italy has been installing solar like Germany has, and Italy's blessed to have more sun than Germany does. They don't have to spend quite as much money to the same amount of sunlight. That's very impressive. Thank you. Late in the day there. In the afternoon. Okay, question. When you have solar power, you need another power source also. Most people do. Most of the time, if you had solar electricity panels on your roof, like that picture that we had here, you would also be still be connected to the grid. During the day, you might actually produce more electricity than you need in your house. And so you can feed electricity back into the grid, run the meter in reverse. The electric company, in most cases, will have to buy that electricity from you. You get a credit on your bill at night. It goes the other way. So it's called running the meter backwards. Now, if you were to separate from the power line altogether and just run your house off the solar panel, that's called going off the grid. You have a cabin way out in the woods. You're going to need batteries in some way to store electricity. Stacks and stacks of car batteries, like closet size full of batteries. This is very expensive. So it's tough to go off the grid. If you have the grid available, you have a power line nearby, It's almost always going to be cheaper to keep that back up. Any other questions? Yes. We save money when we run the meter backwards. You do save money. You actually get paid. In some places, there's rules that are called net metering. What that means is that when I pay 10 cents a kilowatt hour to distribute that electricity, if I feed electricity back into the grid, they have to pay me that same 10 cents a kilowatt hour. They can't say, oh, well, you're a wholesale price, and you saw the wholesale price is 4 cents. They can't say that. They have to say, whatever comes in to the grid from my house, it's the same amount of money as whatever I took from them. And so some people can actually get a credit, get money back every year. Most utilities won't pay you that at the end of the year. They won't actually let you produce more than you consume over the course of the year. So you usually want to size the solar panels on your roof to maybe provide 50% of electricity. You can watch your electric meter. You can go to your bill. You know, I can look at that bill that I had, and I can tell. I can put this into a spreadsheet that I had. Here's my graph there. I can take my kilowatt hours used every month. I can put that into a graph. I can do some engineering calculations or have the company that's selling panels do that and figure out how to get just enough to take care of most of my costs, but not all of it. Another question? And we have 10 minutes? 5 minutes. 5 minutes? 8 minutes. Great. All right, we're going to do an experiment. 3 volunteers. Sure, first 3. Right there. 2 ladies and 9 in the back. Or first 3 to come up. Whoever stands up. Come on up. 1 person needs to bring their iPad. All right. Okay, iPad, Miss iPad, back here. You look like Mr. Voltmeter. The voltmeter, okay, is going to measure volts or current. That's the measurement device. 200. On that side, all right, Mr. Wire. Don't put that on your tongue. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to produce electricity. Actually, not. We're going to produce electric potential. Okay, so we have our solar panel. Now, we would produce about 24 volts of potential if we were outside. But we could actually produce some sunlight and some solar power right here. All right, so you can stand there in the iPad. Let's touch the 2 leads together. What's the reading say at the voltmeter? 0. Good. That works. Come on over here. All right. Now, be very careful. All right. All right. Now we have light hitting our panel. What's the reading? 2.1, 2.2. 2 volts. Not too good, right? We were outside. We were 24. Lay your iPad on top of the phone. 0.3, 0.4. All right. So what do you think? I think we just produced solar potential, right? We definitely did, because when she covered it up, it went down. Now we'd have to connect something to this actually have electricity. We have to connect a small LED light, a little toy motor. Then when the current was flowing through that load, that was then called electricity. So we just produced solar electric potential. And thank you for our lab equipment there. Okay. Any other questions?
We have a comment here from.
All right, Richard Howell. How many students here have solar panels on their roof? We have 1. What's the size of the solar system that you got? How many kilowatts it is? How many panels it is? It covers the whole roof. A part of it. And how did was it there when you bought the house, or did your parents? When did they do that? 3 years back. You know who they purchased the solar power from? No. Excellent. Well, go home and ask your parents. Ask them how many. Ask your. Does your dad know more about it, or your mom? Your dad. Ask them how many kilowatts he has. There. Okay. That's how many megawatts it has. All right, so we have one student. It is getting less and less expensive. And actually, if you're in CoServe, you live in Castle Hills, CoServe will pay $2 per watt up to $5,000. So it's 2.5 kilowatts. Again, 2.5 kilowatts, that was 240 watts on that one panel. So they'll pay for 10 of those panels. $2 a watt, and then going talk about $2 a watt to install. It's only demonstrates about $1. It's almost like solar power in that area. There are a little over 1,000 homes and growing across the DFW area. So thank you, Richard. So in the DFW area, there's 1,000 homes. If you look at an area the size of DFW, say in San Francisco, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, way beyond that. Matthew Johnson, why don't cars run on solar panels? So why don't cars run on solar panels? Yes. No light at night? That's a good question. Yeah, in the back. The car might stop and go through a tunnel. Well, you could have batteries, though. You could have some batteries inside the car so that you have XM radio. You can go through small tunnels, like under overpasses. If you park underneath the overpass, XM radio will go off. But you just drive under the overpass. It doesn't have a few seconds of that music stored. So it's not that solar is some magical thing. There's lots of technologies have this problem. We have solutions for that. Yeah. What's another reason? Why couldn't you have solar panels on your car? Yeah, the solar panels get damaged in the middle of the drive. But now remember, lots of stuff goes wrong with your car. Who's ever run out of gas? Yeah, who's got a flat tire? Who's had a fuel pump breakdown on their way to Colorado? They were stuck overnight in central New Mexico. Like that was down in White's birthday. Yeah. So stuff can go wrong. So just because something goes wrong, there's a really big reason though you don't have solar panels in your car. Well, it's expensive, but it's not that expensive. Too big and bulky. Okay, so how many solar panels would you need to run your car? A lot of solar panels. That's the scientific explanation, exactly. Remember how we converted those light bulbs, 60 watts? Well, how many watts does this car drive? What have you guys heard? You ever heard, like, this car has 300 watts? You ever heard of that? What have you heard? This engine has horsepower. That's right. This engine has horsepower, 100 horsepower, 500 horsepower, right? You can convert horsepower into power measurement, into watts. And this guy, Matthew Thompson, he's actually written a paper on that. If you're interested in reading about that, then you can send me an email, I'll send it to you. And you would see that you would need lots of panels on your car, way more than your car would bear. All right, looks like everything's wrapped up. Any last questions? Okay, everybody look at your app all summer long. Every now and then, turn off your lights when you don't need them. Ask your parents to see a power bill, and look at your electric meter. And thank you very much. All right, that's the end of the class. Thank you all very much for participating. We will record this and send an email out to everybody that registered. Again, this is Borry, Principal Solar Institute, broadcast live today from Killian Middle School, Lewisville, Texas. 8th grade science class. Thank you.